Hare Krishna. So we welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagavatam sessions. So we will start with today's session. It is titled as The Demigods and Demons Declare a Truce. So we will start with Mangalacharana prayers as usual. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namasreshtham Manumapi Sachi Putramatra Swarupam Rupam Tasyagrajam Rupurim Madhurim Goshtavatim Radha Kundam Girivaramaho Radhika Madhavashyam Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Sri Gurum Tam Natosmi Krishnadanyamajanata Kshanamapi Swapnepi Vishveshware Tasmin Bhakti Mahaitu Kim Vidadato Hritkaya Vagdi Sada Srilan Sadguna Punja Keli Nilayan Premavataranaham Vande Bhagavatani Mamanulavam Murnani Patyakshitau Ajanulambita Bhujau Kanakavadatau Sankirtanaika Pitarau Kamalayatakshav Vishwambarau Dvijavarau Yugadharma Palau Vande Jagat Priyakarau Karunavatarau Jayatam Suratau Pangor Mama Mandamatirgati Matsarvasva Padambojau Radha Madana Mohanau Neelachala Nivasaya Nityaya Paramatmane Balabhadra Subhadrabhyam Jagannadayate Namaha. So, as we all know, we are discussing Canto 8 of Srimad Bhagavatam. And a quick overview. So this canto has started with the explanation of Manvantaras. In the first chapter, Sukadeva Goswami has explained about the 4 Manvantaras, and at the end of that chapter, there was a glimpse of the story of Gajendra. Based on that, Parikshit Maharaj inquired more details, and the following next 3 chapters were dedicated to the story of Gajendra. Gajendra Moksham Leela, as we have all discussed that. And at the end of 4th chapter, and again in the 5th chapter, Sukadeva Goswami continued about the Manvantaras. And 5th and 6th Manus. At the end of again 6th Manvantara, it has been mentioned that Lord has performed the churning of milk ocean. And again, based on that, Parikshit Maharaj had requested to give more details on the specific pastime of Lord. And this chapter, or the next 2 chapters, followed by the previous chapter 2, these 4 chapters are covering the Samudra Mantana pastime. Later, the 7th Manvantara and the future Manvantaras will be discussed. And in the Vaivasva Manvantara, the Vamanadeva pastime will be explained, as well as the Matsya Avatara in the last chapter of this canto. So this chapter, again, this typo is still there. Okay, so the first 7 verses we have seen the Supreme Lord appears before the demigods. So earlier, Lord Brahma took all the demigods because they were overtaken by the Asuras, and Brahma, Shiva, and all the demigods have went to the Svetadipa, and Lord Brahma there offered his prayers to that Supreme Lord so that he can provide a solution for the problem which the demigods are facing. So once they reach there, Brahma had prayed to that Supreme Lord, and in this chapter, the chapter 6, the first 7 verses were describing like how the Lord appeared, how he was, and how his ornaments were, and entire description of Lord was there in the first 7 verses. We have seen that yesterday. So yeah, in the first 7 verses, it describes about how Lord characteristics were there, how Lord was looking and how he appeared before the demigods. And next 8 to 15. So earlier, prior to this, Lord Brahma prayed, and once Lord appeared, again Lord Brahma started his prayers, because when we see the Lord in front of us in jubilation, ideally we should pray his or we should glorify his attributes. So based on that, again Lord Brahma started his prayers after the Lord's darshan that we have seen yesterday. Today we will see Lord Vishnu's instruction to churn the milk ocean and the combined efforts of demigods and demons. So as this title mentioned, it is like the demigods and demons come to a truce. So truce means come to an agreement for a short period of time, because they were fighting in between. It is like for a short period of time, they will be coming to an agreement to stop the fight. So today's verses, we will start. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Sri Sukha Uvacha Evam Virinchadibhir Iditastad Vignaya Tesham Hridayam Yataiva Jagadajimota Gabiraya Gira Baddhanjalim Samvrita Sarvakarakan. So Sukadeva Goswami continued. When the Lord was thus offered prayers by the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma, he understood the purpose for which they had approached him, because Lord sits in everyone's heart as Paramatma. He understood the purpose of why they had approached him. Therefore, in a deep voice that resembled the rumbling of clouds, the Lord replied to the demigods, who all stood there attentively with folded hands. So in the picture, we can see all the demigods have approached Lord Vishnu, who is the Kshirodakshai. So they all approached them and the folded hands. And at this point, Lord started giving instructions. So the voice of the Lord is compared to rumbling of clouds. So now, next, Lord replies. So here, still the Sukadeva Goswami continues. Eka ekeshwarastasmin surakaryeshureshwarah vihartu kamastanaha samudronmantanadibihi. Although the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the master of the demigods, was capable of performing the activities of demigods by himself, he wanted to enjoy the pastimes in the churning the ocean. Therefore, he spoke as follows. So yesterday we had a couple of questions like, so devas and demigods, when they are fighting, Lord can kill them instantly. Why they want to have such a long pastime? So here the answer is there. Here it says, Lord wanted to enjoy the pastimes of churning the ocean. So all the pastimes, whatever we are seeing, Lord by his mercy comes to this world and performs that Leela. So in order to kill Hiranyakashipu, it doesn't take a minute to kill him. But Lord came as Narsinghadev, so that we all are remembering that pastime, we all are enjoying that pastime by reading it. So it is just for ourselves to read, recite and replay in our minds that we want to remember that Lord. If the Lord doesn't do any pastimes, then there is no point of our jubilation in remembering him. So he comes to this world and does the pastime just for our benefit, but not, it is not like he is incapable of, he can just do that in an instant of a second. So now Lord speaks. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Hanta Brahman Aho Shambho He Deva Mama Bhasitam Shrunvata Vahita Sarve Shreyo vah syadhyata suraha. Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and other demigods, please hear me with great attention. So Lord is saying, Shrunuvata Vahita Sarve, with great attention. Shreyo, it will bring good fortune for all of you. Because Lord knows past, present, and future. He is saying, please listen to me. You will have good fortune in future. Yatha danava daiteyas tavat sandirvidit vidiyatam kalena nugrahi taistair yavadvo bhava atmanaha. As long as you are not flourishing, you should make a truce with the demons and asuras who are now being favored by the time. So here Lord is saying, you, the demigods, are not flourishing because at this point asuras are flourishing. So here the key thing what is there to understand is asuras are following the instructions of their guru Sukracharya, and here the demigods have insulted their guru. So there comes the problem. That is why this backstep of demigods happened, and the Danavas or the Daityas, they have taken over the demigods. So if we follow the orders of our spiritual master, we will be able to find out the right way to that Supreme Personality of Godhead's abode. So if we don't follow the instructions, or instead we give a challenging mood or challenging questions, or we don't follow the instructions, then the position of what is happening with the Devatas will be happening to us. So it is all based on the Vaishnava Aparadha which Lord Indra has done. So because of that, the demigods got weakened, and whenever the demigods got weakened, asuras became stronger, and asuras took over the demigods. So now Lord is saying, you are not flourishing. Now go and have an agreement with the demons. Say that we will come to an agreement and we will stop our fight for a period of time, and what they are going to perform will be discussed in further verses. So here he is saying the asuras are also being favored by the time. So in the current time, asuras are having upper hand. So please go ahead and have a truce. Arayopihi sandeyah sati karyartha gaurave ahi mushikavad deva hyartasya padavim gatihi. So, O demigods, fulfilling one's own interest is so important that one may even have to make a truce with one's enemies. For the sake of one's self-interest, one has to act accordingly to the logic of snake and the mouse. So here, Lord is giving an analogy, saying, if you think that why we demigods need to go and make a truce with the demons, he is giving an example. So consider there is a basket. Inside that there is a rat as well as a snake. So now rat has a capability to make a hole to the basket, but not snake. Now if snake kills the rat, all the time snake should be in that, and at later point snake would get killed. So snake, if the snake is intelligent, then it will give a chance to the rat, and it will give the chance to the rat so that rat can make hole to the basket, and from that hole rat can escape as well as snake. But the snake intentions here might be like the rat can make hole to the basket, but once the rat makes the hole, snake might think that I can catch the mouse and eat it. So here there is self-interest of both, because both want to get out of this situation. Similarly, in order to fulfill the interest of demigods, they also need to take a back step and go to the demons for making a truce. So this is the analogy given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to demigods. So what they need to do? So Lord said, first you go and make a truce. So what they need to do? Here Lord is saying, Amrutotpadane yatnaha kriyatam avilambitam yasya pitasya vaijantur mrutyugrasto maro bhavet. Immediately endeavor to produce nectar. Amrutotpadane yatnaha, which a person who is about to die may drink to become immortal. So try to get that nectar, and whoever is the person going to die, if they drink it, they will become immortal. Because if they suggest this, ideally, because of getting immortality, both will or the Rakshasas want that Amrita, and they will come and join with demigods to perform that activity. So that is why Supreme Personality of Godhead suggested to make a truce and suggest this particular activity. Kshipitva kshiro dadau sarva virutrina lataushadihi mantana mandaram kritva netram kritva tu vasukim sahayena maya deva nirmantadvam atindriyah atandritaah kleshabhajo bhavishyanti daitya yuyam falagrahah. O demigods, cast into the ocean of milk. So here Lord is saying, into the ocean of milk, you put all this stuff. What are those? All kinds of vegetables, grass, creepers, and drugs. Then, with my help, making the Mandara mountain, the churning rod. So, we have the milk, we have some ingredients in the milk. Now, we require a churning rod. Let's take the Mandara mountain as the churning rod, and I will help in that. And in order to churn that rod, you need a rope. So later Lord is saying, and Vasuki, the rope for churning. Now churn the ocean of milk with undiverted attention. So Lord is saying, go to the ocean of milk, put the ingredients, vegetables, grass, creepers, drugs. Then take the Mandara mountain, use it as churning rod, take the Vasuki as that rope for the churning, and churn the ocean of milk with a great attention. Thus, the demons will be engaged in labor. And you, the demigods, will gain the actual result, the nectar produced from the ocean. So here he is saying, this activity, after this activity, the demons will be just engaged in the labor because they will not get the fruit of that activity. But Lord is guaranteeing the demigods, like, you will be getting the result. So Lord has guaranteed Devatas that they will get the nectar, and Lord gives caution in the next verses to the demigods. Yuyam tat anumodatvam yad ichantyasura suraha nasamrambhena siddhyanti sarvartha shantavyayata. My dear demigods, with patience and peace, everything can be done. But if one is agitated by anger, the goal is not achieved. Therefore, whatever the demons ask, agree to their proposal. So Lord is saying, once you go and discuss with the demons, if they put forward some proposal, please go ahead, accept it, but continue this particular activity which I have suggested. So Lord is saying, have patience and peace, but no angry. And Lord knows what happens in the future. So he is giving a glimpse of what could happen and how demigods should behave. Nabhetavyam kalakutad vishajhaladi sambhavat Lobha karyo navujatu rosha kamastu vastusu. A poison known as Kalakuta will be generated from the ocean of milk, but you should not fear it. And when various products are churned from the ocean, you should not be greedy for them or anxious to obtain them, nor you should be angry. So here Lord is giving a caution to the demigods, saying, when you are churning the milk of ocean, there will be a poison emanating, which is known as Kalakuta. But don't fear that. I will be taking care. And not just Kalakuta, there will be various products which will be coming out of the ocean. Don't be greedy and go behind them to acquire it. Don't be greedy or anxious to obtain it, nor you should be angry. So if demons are taking those, don't be angry. So these are the words of caution which Supreme Lord is giving demons. Now what happens later is explained by Sukadeva Goswami. Sri Sukha Uvacha iti devan samadhisya bhagavan purushottamah tesham antardadhe rajan swachanda ishwaraha. Sukadeva Goswami continued, O King Parikshit, after advising the demigods in this way, this independent Supreme Personality of Godhead, the best of all livings, disappeared from their presence. So here it is said, Supreme Lord advised the demigods and later he disappeared. Now the last section of this chapter, the combined efforts of demigods and demons. Here demigods reach out to the king of demons and they find to have a truce. Atah tasmai bhagavate namaskritya pitamaha bhavascha jagmatu swam swam dhamo peyur balim suraha. Then Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, after offering their respectful obeisances to the Lord, returned to their abodes. So Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva offered, and all the demigods also offered their respectful obeisances, returned to their abodes. Then all the demigods then approached the king of the demons. He is Maharaja Bali. Because he is in the lineage of Prahlad Maharaj, he can understand. He knows the rules and etiquettes, like when guests come, how to behave with them. Now we'll see. Drishtvarinapya samyattan jatak shobhan swanayakan nyasi dhaddaitya rajslokyaha sandhi vigraha kalavet. Maharaja Bali, a most celebrated king of the demons, knew very well when to make peace and when to make fight. Thus, although his commanders and captains were agitated, were about to kill the demigods, Maharaj Bali, seeing that the demigods were coming to him without a militant attitude, forbade his commanders to kill them. So here, because Maharaj Bali is in the great lineage of Prahlad Maharaj, so he understood that the demigods are not coming in a challenging or fighting mode, rather than they are coming for an agreement. So the associates of Maharaj Bali wanted to kill the demons, but as a king, he ordered to stop, and he wanted to hear the suggestions or the options given by demigod. So here one thing we need to understand is, if someone is coming to our home, even if he is an enemy, we should treat them like there is no enmity between us, and we need to give them due respects, because we need to give proper respects to our guests at home, which is mentioned in the Shastras. So because Bali Maharaj knows all this dharma, so whatever the three things which are there, dharma, artha, kama, so he has studied them rigorously. So he knows how to behave with the guests. So we can see the same example when the Kurukshetra was happening. So the battlefield was only from the time of sunrise and sunset. After that, there are many examples, like Pandavas were going to the tents of Kauravas and Kauravas were coming to the tents of Pandavas, and they were all spending their time like friends and family members, not like enemies. So a war is a war, but when someone is coming to your home, there should be no enmity. Te vairochanimasinam guptam chasurayutapaihi shriya param yaya justam jitasesham upagamam. The demigods approached Bali Maharaj, the son of Virochana, and sat down near him. Bali Maharaj was protected by the commanders of demons and was most opulent, having conquered the entire universe. So at that point, Bali Maharaj has conquered the 3 worlds. So demigods approached Bali Maharaj and they started discussion. Mahendra slakshnaya vacha shantavitva mahamatihi abhyabhasata tatsarvam sikshitam purushottamat. After pleasing Bali Maharaja with mild words, Lord Indra, the king of demigods, who was most intelligent, very politely submitted to all the proposals he had learned from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu. So, Lord Indra, he is very much intelligent. So, he has put forward all the suggestions which he heard from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, in front of the Bali Maharaj in a mild words. Tattvarochita daityasya tantrayanye suradipaha sambaro arishte arishtane mischa yecha tripura vasinaha. The proposals submitted by the king Indra were immediately accepted by Bali Maharaja and his assistants, headed by Shambara and Arishta Nemi, and by all other residents of Tripura, the 3 worlds. So here, why they have accepted? Because the outcome of this activity is the nectar, and demons think that now they are more stronger than the Devatas. So once the nectar comes out, they can easily overcome, or they can easily partake the Devatas and take the nectar, so that they can become immortal all the time. So Lord has shown that particular nectar as an output, so that the demons will accept this truth. Tato deva surakritva samvidam krita sauhrudah udyamam paramam chakror amritarde parantapa. O Maharaj Parikshit, chastiser of enemies, the demigods and the demons thereafter made an armistice between them. Then, with great enterprise, they arranged to produce nectar as proposed by Lord Indra. So whatever Lord Indra has proposed to bring out the nectar from the milk ocean, demigods and demons, now they have prepared their armies in order to churn the milk ocean. Now the first activity is to get the churning rod. Tataste mandaragirim ojasotpatya dhurmadaha nadanta udadhim ninyuho shakta parigrah bhavaha. Thereafter, with great strength, the demons and demigods, who were all very powerful, who had long, stout arms, uprooted the Mandara mountain, crying very loudly. They brought it towards the ocean of milk. So here, now they are working as a team. Now the demons as demigods, both of them went to the Mandarachala mountain and they started lifting it and while lifting, they are crying very loudly, and they have started to bring that Mandara mountain towards the ocean of milk. Dhura bharodvah shantah shakravairochanadayah aparyantastam vid tambodhum vivasa vijahupati. Because of conveying the great mountain for a long distance. So they were carrying this mountain for long distance. King Indra, Maharaj Bali, and other demigods and demons became fatigued. So they all became tired by carrying this great mountain. Being unable to carry the mountain, they left it on the way. So here we need to understand it could be the king of demigods and the king of demons. Indra and Bali Maharaj, they were not able to carry this mountain from the place it was to the ocean of milk. Now we will see the prowess of that Supreme Lord. So the demons and demigods, they were not able to carry and left it on the way. Nipatan sagiristatra bahun amaradanavan churnayam asamahata bharena kanakachalah. Kanakachalah. The mountain known as Mandara, which was extremely heavy, being made of gold, fell and smashed many demigods and demons. So while they were carrying, because it is of great weight, and it is made of gold. So the weight of gold is more than the weight of mud or stone. So here, because it is extremely heavy, it fell and it smashed many demigods and demons. Most of them were killed. Samstata bhagna manaso bhagna bahuru kandaran vignaya bhagavan satra Babhuva Garudadvajah. The demigods and demons were frustrated and disheartened, and their arms, thighs, shoulders were broken. So because they thought they would get the nectar, they have started this activity. But at this point, it is like they cannot move the mountain, and they are not going to get what they have expected. Now, the difference between the expectation and the actual will get the frustration. Now, the demigods and demons are completely frustrated and they are disheartened. Therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who knows everything, appeared there on the back of his carrier Garuda. Because if he doesn't interfere, then the activity might have get completed at that point. So he thought, let me interfere and help them in getting this Mandarachala mountain. So earlier Lord said, I will help in getting the churning rod. Here he is doing whatever he have given the word earlier. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared with Garuda. Giripata vinishpishtan vilokya maradanavan ishaya jivayam asa Nirjaran Nirvaran Yatha. Observing the most of the demons and demigods had crushed by the falling of mountain, the Lord glanced over them and brought them back to life. So God doesn't need any nectar to make the people who have died to come back to life. Just the Lord's glance is sufficient to make people come back to life. Thus, they became free from grief and they even had no bruises on their body. So earlier they were carrying the mountain from long distance. There were many bruises on their body. Now, with the glance of that Supreme Personality of Godhead, they became as how they were earlier of this activity. So there were no bruises on their bodies. Girim Charopya Garude Haste Naikena Leelaya Aruhya Prayaya Abdhim Sura Suraganair Vritaha. The Lord very easily lifted the mountain with one hand and placed it on the back of Garuda. Then he too got on the back of Garuda and went to the ocean of milk, surrounded by demons and demigods. So here we can understand the prowess of that Supreme Personality of Godhead. As we understood, all the demigods were there, all the demons were there. Demigods, Lord Brahma, Indra, everyone were not able to move this mountain from that place because they all were fatigued. But here comes the Lord, that Supreme Personality of Godhead, in order to perform his pastime. That mountain he just lifted with one hand, and forget about his prowess. He placed that mountain on the back of Garuda. So Garuda was also so much powerful that it can lift the mountain as well as the Supreme Lord. So it is said he too got on the back of Garuda and went to the ocean of milk. So by the mercy of Lord, one can get enough power that whatever the other living entities were not able to do, this person who has the mercy can do. So that is the example of Garuda here. Avaropya girim skandat suparna patatambaraha jayau jalanta ustrijya harina savisarjitaha. Thereafter, Garuda, the chief of birds, unloaded Mandara mountain from his shoulder and brought it near water. Then he was asked by the Lord to leave that place, and Garuda left. So Lord placed the Mandarachala mountain on the back of Garuda, and Lord sat on the Garuda. Both of them traveled towards the ocean of milk. And when they reached the ocean of milk, Garuda placed the Mandarachala mountain onto the ocean of milk. So it brought near the water. And later, Lord instructed Garuda that now you can leave. Why? Because Garuda is a bird, or it is a bird which eats snake. Now we got the churning rod, but the rope is Vasuki, which is a snake. When Garuda is there, ideally Vasuki will not come to that place. So that is why Lord said, Garuda, now you can leave so that Vasuki will be available and demigods and demons can churn the ocean of milk. So this is the chapter last verse. So here the setting of the scene till the churning rod placed is completed. So what we have seen in this chapter is first the appearance of the Supreme Lord in front of demons, or in front of demigods, sorry. How he appeared with his beautiful smile and with his beautiful earrings and his moving garlands. So there were many attributes which were describing the Lord's, and how Lord was looking. It was looking like thousands of suns appeared at once. Because of that effulgence, demigods were not able to see even themselves. Next, once the once the demigods were able to see the Lord Brahma started his prayers. And after that, the Supreme Lord instructed demigods to go and make an agreement with the demons to churn the ocean of milk and get the nectar. Later, the demigods, following the instructions of that Supreme Personality of Godhead, they went to, or the King Indra went to King Bali Maharaj and had an agreement to churn the ocean of milk. Later, both of them as a team went to the Mandarachala mountain to bring that mountain, and they were not able to, and they have left the mountain in between, and most of the demigods and demons were crushed under the mountain. At this point, Lord interrupted. He appeared and he lifted the mountain, and he also brought back to life the demons and demigods who were killed with the crushing of mountain. Now Lord says, Garuda, now you can go now, so that Vasuki will come and the activity will move forward. The churning of old milk ocean will happen. So this is a quick summary of this chapter. If anyone has any questions, we can discuss. So there is one question: is Bali Maharaj a devotee of the Lord? Yes, he is a devotee of the Lord, but because he is in the lineage of Asuras, he will be favoring the Asuras. So Prahlad Maharaj, he is in the same lineage.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Prabhu, yes, Prabhu.
Thank you for the very beautiful class. Prabhu, I have one question.
Yes,
see, we have seen that in different manvantaras, the Indra changes, right?
Yes.
But so we have seen that Indra is more of a post, and different personalities occupy that post in different manvantaras.
Correct.
Now, we see Bali Maharaj now in the current manvantara, which we are discussing, the Chakshusa manvantara, right?
Prabhu, there was some disturbance. Yeah, in the Chakshusa manvantara, correct, Prabhu.
Now we see in the same canto, even in Vaivashvata manvantara, is it the same Bali Maharaj or how it is?
So you are saying about the Vamana pastime?
Yes.
Okay. It should be the same, Prabhu. Yeah.
So he lives for a very long time, Bali Maharaj?
Because yeah, Manvantara is changing. So your question is basically whether the Bali Maharaj is same or not.
Yes, yes. Because Indra changes, no?
Yeah, Indra, Shiva, Brahma, everyone is having the post. And Manvantara is a day of Brahma. Now, if Bali is occupying the three worlds, then he could be in the different days of Brahma also. So ideally, he can be the same person in the next Manvantara too. But however, I need to check and confirm, Prabhu. Because now he is in the, he is occupying the three different planetary systems because he is known as now Tripura. He is taking care of the Tripura. And as we discussed, Manvantara is just 17 one mantras make one day of Brahma. So now Bali Maharaj is at the position or is at the planetary system of Brahma. So it could be possible that he will be in the different manvantaras too.
Okay, Prabhu.
But however, I'll just check and confirm, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, so if there are
Prabhu, one more question I have, if there is time.
Yes, Prabhu, please.
See, we have seen that Indra basically offended Durvasa Muni, because of which the demigods lost all their strength and opulence.
Correct.
Now we have seen that the same Durvasa Muni himself actually has been very offensive, and he is very short-tempered person. For example, we see the Mahabharata also, that Durvasa Muni is a very short-tempered person.
He is the most angry.
We have seen even in the case of Ambarish Maharaj that, he also cursed Ambarish Maharaj. So now if you see Durvasa Muni is cursed here. So how to understand this? See, we say that in one way we can assume that of course he's a devotee, he's a sage, but again he himself is offensive in many places. So Indra just neglected. How can we understand this?
So in the case of Ambarish Maharaj, Durvasa Muni got instant karma. But here, his activity is not so offensive against Indra. It is like he has given an offering to Lord Indra, And Lord Indra, being puffed up with his position, he gave that to that Airavata, and Airavata has offended that garland. So in this particular activity, he did not show his any angry at that point. So his activity was fine, but based on the reaction of Indra, he cursed.
I mean, I wanted to know this, Prabhu. Like, see, when we say offense, we mean only an offense to a pure devotee of the Supreme Lord. But it appears that Durvasa Muni himself is not a pure devotee of the Supreme Lord. That was my question, to put it in a more clear way.
Okay, yeah. So it might look like that, but however, he is also one of the great sage. So he is having his respectable position. So even Indra has done a lot of things which he is not supposed to do, but he is considered as even in this today's verses, it is said that he is the most intelligent. So irrespective of their activity, they have their post, and the post will have some respect.
Okay, brother. Thank you, brother.
Thank you. Okay. I think, yeah, we will stop the session here. Om Tat Sat, Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. So we will continue tomorrow with how the churning of milk ocean activity happens tomorrow. Thank you all for joining in.